Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to the Course Creator Community Podcast. I am super excited this week because I've got a very special guest all the way from Germany in Europe. I think she's the first German. Well, I'm not sure if you're even German, but the first person. I don't think she's German. I think she's Romanian.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, she's the first Romanian person I've ever spoken to in my life. I've never met a Romanian person. I don't think they come to Australia much. So she's the first Romanian person I've ever met. She's the first Romanian person on the podcast. She's the first person I'm interviewing from Germany from the podcast. So a little bit about this person. She's a writer. She's an author. She's a course creator and she's a self development enthusiast. She's got books and blogs and courses all over Amazon. I think she's written more books than I've read books, so that'll tell you something. And now she actually helps other people turn their expertise into impactful courses and programs. And she's also the admin of the very popular Facebook group Digital Course Creation Fellowship, which I recommend everyone join. And today she's going to tell us how she created her highly rated online course in just 3 hours. So without further ado, let me introduce the one and only Tini, whose surname is so complicated I can't pronounce it. Tini, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. I'm excited to be here.
Yes, I'm excited too. Tini, I like to start all my podcasts off with a quote or mantra that inspires you or fires you up. Have you
Right.
got one for us?
Yeah. And it comes from The Haunting of Bly Manor, which is on Netflix. And I really like to go to watch Netflix. And that quote is one day at a time is what we've got. It's what everybody's got when you get down to it. And this is exactly how I live my life. One day at a time, not worrying about what's up next, nobody knows, and just making the most of it.
Yes, I love that as well. I'm a huge fan of each day at a time. I just wake up every day and yeah, I mean, as sad as it is, you don't know if you got the next day. So I just want to make sure whatever I do in that day, I make the most of it. And, there's no better feeling than hitting the bed happy, saying I did everything I possibly could today to make it the best possible day. So I love that there. Just before we get into it, what I recommend everyone do, Tinny's actually got a free gift that she's going to give to us, which is the course creation keys, which basically it includes 100 course creation tips. I'll put the link in the show notes. I recommend go and do that. Like I'm happy if I can get one tip from a freebie. Tinny's going to give us 100. So I recommend everyone go to the show notes and download that. Tinny, just before we get to the topic of today's podcast, I've obviously been following you on social media for a while, but if someone's listening to this and they haven't, do you want to let us know in a nutshell, what is it you do? How'd you get into that?
I like that in a nutshell. Can we do that? All right. I have a background in nutrition and in teaching, and I started my business in nutrition, creating meal plans for people. And what I noticed is that I was stretching myself thin because, when you're creating a meal plan, you want it to be personalized. And I don't like to copy and paste and give people the same meal plan over and over again. I wanted to create an experience for them with that meal plan. And I started to think, what can I do to maximize my time and to help more people? And the obvious answer was to create an online course. So I started with an online course. Well, it wasn't that easy because I postponed creating my first course for 6 months because I started thinking about, oh my God, it has to be an amazing course to stand out. What am I even going to say in that course? How am I going to transfer a personalized service into a course that people can take and get results? And so I postponed it for 6 months. Then I finally created it because I saw a guy create a course in 10 days. And I said, if he can do it, I can do it too. And that was a successful course. And then I created more courses in this lifestyle space. And well, yeah, there's much to it. And then I shifted, well, not completely, to helping course creators create their courses, but I'm also creating other courses on the side. So I'm not just that guy who just goes into the course creation space without creating other courses myself.
Yes, love it. I relate to that because it's similar to me. I've still got my fitness education online business that's running on one side of things. other side of things is, hey, you want to sell more of your online course, I've got courses that can help there. So I love that. Tini, I'm going to hand it over to you from here. Am I right in saying you recently created an online course in 3 hours and it got a whole heap of awesome reviews? Did you leave out a zero? Is it meant to be 30 hours and I read it wrong, or what's going on there?
No, it's actually 3 hours, and it's not the only course I created in 3 hours.
You've
Because,
done
I
multiple,
started,
you've done multiple courses in 3 hours.
yes.
All right. I want to tell me the story, tell me the tips. I'm sure everyone's super curious. I'm going to hand it over to you from here and let us know the story.
Okay. When I was creating courses in the health space, I felt like something was missing, and I really felt drained of energy, doing all the things and not really focusing on what I was good at. So I took a break from social media, and it ended up being a 2-month break. And in that break, I regrouped and I worked with experts on their courses. With experts in the health and wellness space mainly, because that was my expertise, and I could not sell results that I did not have, because it doesn't work that way. And I helped them create their courses, and it was like done for you services. I helped them bring their ideas to life and apply structure in a way that the course flows from start to finish, and people are more likely to go through the course. So in that break, I realized something. I had delivered a training on how to create fresh and engaging content fast right before my break. And that training took me about 30 minutes to put together the presentation for, and then 30 minutes to deliver it live. And what happened when I delivered it live to an audience of about 50 people in a pop-up Facebook group, I got feedback, immediate feedback for that training. I got comments that, oh my God, this works, and the action steps are so implementable and useful. And I was able to apply any update to that training. And at that break, I was thinking, hey, what can I do with that presentation? Because I don't want it to go to waste. So I said, okay, I'm going to create a course. And I wanted to particularly post it on Skillshare. I just set my mind on it. I use multiple platforms, but that was just in that moment. So I said, okay, I have this training. I want to turn it into a course. What am I going to do next? And the way I structure my presentations is in a structured way so that people know what they're in for. So kind of like if the course has 5 parts, I'm going to say part 1 out of 5, part 2 out of 5, and so on. So I basically had all my lessons in that presentation. So what I did was I just started to record one at a time and turn it into a course. But I did not just do that, because it's not so easy to set your mind, oh my God, I'm going to create a course and turn this presentation into a course. I just play to my strengths. And I know that I'm really good with external accountability and with setting a deadline. And this comes from self-discovery and knowing yourself. And what I did was I set myself a deadline for 2 hours to turn that presentation and training into a course. And I also attached an external accountability by talking to someone who was interested in my course idea and saying, hey, I'm going to create this course this week and I'm going to deliver it to you. And I sat there, I recorded, I was committed 2 hours. Okay, that's it. I don't have more than 2 hours. It's kind of like if you have one day to live, what are you going to do in that? And I did. I recorded the course. I uploaded and published on Skillshare. I also sent it to that other person for their platform, and I was done. So if you combine the presentation, 30 minutes, the live training, which was a validating training, 30 minutes, and 2 hours to record and turn it into a course, that's 3 hours.
Wow. That's amazing. Okay. Let me summarize all of this and then we'll go a bit deeper because I've got some questions there. So, in a nutshell, you gave a presentation. It was in a live pop up group, right?
Yes.
Now, putting the presentation together, is that like a PowerPoint slide that you put together, or was it writing some notes, then you delivered it like we're talking now? How was it when you say putting the presentation together? What does that involve?
Yes, it was slides because I also want to, I find it easier to have slides in a course
Yeah.
because you tend to people who are visual learners. And
Mm,
it's also easy for you to have something to have notes on there without feeling like, oh, I have to look at my notes. I do that sometimes. I say, oh, I'm going to look at my notes. But it's just easier when you have a slide deck presentation.
100% easier for both parties, right? Easier for
Yeah.
you because, and it might be all right for you because you're a quite good looking person. The people might not like looking at you, right? But someone like me, I need to put slides up there, right? Nobody wants to look at my head for 30 minutes on there. So I think it's a good win-win for both parties with the slide deck. Now,
I do
how?
enjoy looking at you. So.
Yeah, whatever. You're too kind. Now so the slide deck, you do it on PowerPoint, you do it on Canva. How do you do your slide deck?
I do my slides in Google Drive, but I
Oh,
also
yeah.
do them on PowerPoint. But I do them on PowerPoint sometimes because when I started with my first course, I just did slides, voiceover slides. I did
Yeah.
not feel comfortable being on camera because this was like 3 years ago or something like that. So I got better. But we all have to start somewhere. And I did PowerPoint with Audacity recordings.
Oh, yes, yes.
And then I
Okay.
synced them.
Interesting. All right, cool. Gotcha. So presentation 30 minutes. Yeah, because I'm running through the process now. I'm like, could I do this? And I'm like, okay. And I'm guessing because the other thing is you need to, actually, there's probably a step before this, though. Let me think of how I can put this. Because um, you had an idea beforehand, though, right? Before sitting down and writing that PowerPoint, did you have a bit of an idea in your head? Let's say the topic was, I don't know, how to sell your first online course. Did you think about it beforehand, or was it literally like, right, I've got half an hour to write these slides. Let me just go and do it. What did you do there?
I just set myself the 30 minutes. And
Okay.
yes, you're right. We do think about things on the background. So when you get an idea, it's not like, yes, I'm going to create this course in
Yeah.
3 hours, like straight
Yeah.
from idea to. I think it can be done. I haven't tried it, but I
Yeah.
do like to give some space to the ideas. I also like to talk about my ideas whenever I go about my day because it's a different way when you talk about your ideas. They get structured and organized in a different way
Mm.
as opposed to just letting them in your mind and putting them on paper.
Because sometimes it makes it in your mind, right? But then you're
Yeah.
telling someone else, and you're like, "Oh, this doesn't make sense at all." So, okay, gotcha. So it's like, and also you probably have noticed. It's not like someone said to you, "Hey, Tini, we're up in an hour. Go from blank." It's probably like, "Hey, in a week or two time, you're going to speak about this topic here." So it's going on in the background. Then you're probably an expert at it anyway. So it's not like you need to go and do the research, whatever. You're probably talking to people about it every day. You're reading books, listening to podcasts. So okay, that part makes sense with the PowerPoint. And I think it's cool as well because and I'm guessing the PowerPoint wasn't super fancy, right? It didn't have a whole heap of things, flying in from everywhere. And it wasn't, notes and notes and notes on the PowerPoint. It was probably some dot points there to get you talking about the topic. Is that what the PowerPoint was like?
Yes, I do stand for simplicity. I don't like the fluff. And I really like keeping things to the point. I
Mm,
mean, people just want to see the main ideas on a slide. That's it. They don't want to read because if we put more things on the slide, their mind is going to go all sorts of ways and
mm,
their focus is going to shift from you to other things.
yes.
They're going to think that what's on the slide is more important than what you say and how you say it. But it's basically the same thing. They're missing out on the energy that you convey through your
Yes.
words.
Agree 100%. All right, cool. So that's got that PowerPoint there down packed. The live. And then I guess, okay, you've just done the PowerPoint. It's pretty easy to go live then because you've literally just written it. You maybe practice it once in your head and then you go and you do it live, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I also had to gather the audience. So
Oh,
that
that
was
was on you
also,
to do that.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
geez,
I was
I thought it
just
was someone
starting
else
from
that brought you
scratch.
in.
No.
Okay, gotcha. So you did that as well. Now, question here. You said that you got good feedback there, right? In that one presentation. Was it at the end of the presentation where people said, "Oh, this is awesome, this is so good," or did they hit you up afterwards, or how did you get that validation?
It was throughout the presentation. The way I set things up is I set the action steps at the end. I usually include the action steps in a lesson, but this was a different type of course. So my action steps were 10 questions that would spark fresh and engaging content ideas. And I run through the questions with them. And as I was saying, okay, here's the first question, and I was giving them examples about, just to get them their mind going. And they were there with me live and sharing their ideas as they were coming.
Love it.
So that's also, that's the validation part.
Awesome. And then from there, you basically said, right, I want to convert this into a course. Let me make sure I've got this right. You didn't just chop up the live, right? It wasn't like, okay, I've got this 30-minute presentation. Let me just chop it up and put it there. You used the same slide deck. Is that right? It's the same slide deck because you already had. So was it a 10-part course or a 10-part this live that you did? Was it 10 different questions? Is that what you were saying?
Okay, the course, the let's say the training, the live training had 5 parts. The 4 parts were mostly explaining and leading up to the actionable steps. And the 10 questions are the actionable steps that help them implement what they've just learned in the 4 parts.
Gotcha.
Okay. And yeah, what was I saying?
Okay, so let me make sure I got my head around that. So then after the live, you're like, cool, I'm going to put this into a course. I've already got the slide deck. It's already structured in such a way that there's module 1, module 2, module 3, module 4, module 5. So let me just open up module 1 and let me just record it again. And then let me open up module 2 and then let me record that. Then module 3, let me record that. Let me 4, record that. 5, record that. And then you've got a new course there, right?
Yeah, that's what you asked. And I actually lost the live presentation because it was like for a limited amount of time and I did not record it. And I deleted it from Facebook, but it was no problem because I don't like to sell recordings unless I'm making a point. I do have a recording in one of my course of a workshop that I turned into a mini course so that they see how the workshop translated into a mini course, but that serves a point. And I don't like to sell recordings.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. That all makes sense there. And then, so you did it again. It's all as a course there. And then that's it. That's basically the course, right? What was the other? Was there one thing I'm missing? You had that. And that took 2 hours to redo the course?
Yes, 2 hours.
Question on that. Why did that take 2 hours? If you presented it in 30 minutes, why did it take 2 hours to redo?
Okay. It took 2 hours because I recorded each lesson individually. And I don't usually do editing. So I just start from the beginning every time because that's also a way to practice me speaking in front of an audience, and I'm getting better as I go. And I also published, uploaded, and stuff like that.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, I just had to get myself in the mood to record because we're not always in the mood to record a course. It's not like, yeah. And I had to just be grounded and say, hey, I only have this amount of time to record and publish. So everything.
Yes, I love it because I can't remember whose law it is. There's some scientist or some famous person and they've got a law, and it's like the amount of time you give to do that task is the amount of time it's going to take. If you had said, all right, I'm going to give myself a week to record this thing here, guess what? It's going to take you a week to record it. You're going to think about it, then you're going to edit this, then you're going to edit that, and then you're going to record it Friday night or whatever, right? But if you say, hey, I got to get it done in 2 hours, you get it done in 2 hours. So I got to say, I love it. I feel like there's so many people that take months and if not a year to complete their online course. And it's like, well, hold on, why? Like if you got the knowledge in your head, cool. Do use this exact system here. Present it live once. You got your slide deck. You present it once. You get some feedback. Then you're going to know what to do when you repurpose it as a course. You give yourself that 2 hours and then done. You've got, obviously people have different motivations. You've pinpointed yours where you're like, all right, I need some sort of I need a deadline, and then I need some sort of external external deadline as well, or external motivation as well. So I've got that other person there. Done. You did it. So well done. I'm impressed. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Uh,
Yeah, and you're right about the amount of time that it takes to complete a task. We tend to stretch all our tasks to fit a time slot.
Yes, and that's even just that's actually I'll give it time. My number one time management skill is what I do every night, or before I clock off work, I write down my time for the next day. It's like great, here are the hours I'm working. What am I doing in every single little hour there? And then when I go to the next day, I simply look at my paper. Great, what am I going to do? How long have I got to do it? I've got to finish that task. So I love that there. Hey, Tini, there's just a few questions I ask to finish the podcast off with. The first one is around course hosting platforms. I'm curious to hear well, actually, I know who you use, but I'm sure my audience is curious to hear what's your favorite course hosting platform?
I'm not going to say that I have a favorite, but I use Thinkific as my standalone course platform. I also have courses on Skillshare and Udemy. I always recommend to just go with whatever feels comfortable to start with. I started with Thinkific and, I just got used to it. So I like it. But I'm also open to other options.
Yes. Well, I've used Thinkific before. I don't use Thinkific at the moment, but I've used it before, and I think, hey, it's not bad. I mean, I'm not gonna tell anyone, hey, don't go Thinkific. It's got everything you need. Especially actually, I will say in terms of the actual course, I think it's amazing. I think it got everything to put in the course. With some of the sales stuff, it might not be as advanced as a New Zenler or as a Kajabi, but there's ways around that anyway, and it's probably more affordably priced. I think there's even a free version for your first course as well, so I know people can jump on that. Tini, I'm curious to hear who your mentors have been. You're obviously a mentor now for plenty of other course creators, also plenty of people that you've helped with their health. I'm curious to hear who your mentors have been, and if you could answer this in three different ways: a book that you've read and you recommend every course creator should read, a mentor that you've paid money to, you've done their course or hired them as a business coach, and a mentor that you haven't paid, but you follow them on social media, you watch their YouTube videos, you watch their TikTok dances, whatever it may be. What can you tell us there? Mentors, book, paid and unpaid.
Okay. Mentors paid. I'm going to go with Nicole Cherie Barker. She's a business coach. And yeah, I don't know if you want the details of that,
Yeah,
but
give her a plug. What does she do? Who does she help?
she's into client attraction, and not just any type of client attraction, just being yourself and showing up as your true self. And I think that's super important in course creation, because if you don't create a course from results that you have, then that's pointless for me.
Mm.
And if you don't want to make an impact in the world and make that course mean something and the results that people get, that's pointless too, because it's not going to bring satisfaction at all.
Yes, I agree. Okay. Unpaid.
Unpaid. Okay. I just went back and forth with this one, but I chose I chose a fitness trainer
Oh.
because we are our business, right?
Mm.
And if we don't take care of our bodies and our minds and everything, then there's no business and there's no course that's possible. And I follow Lucy Wyndham Reed. She has a huge YouTube channel and and a Facebook community. And she has short and effective workouts, like 7-minute workouts, and I think that they're perfect for entrepreneurs and course
Mm.
creators.
Yes, love it. I'm glad you've brought that up because my background is in fitness. I used to be a fitness trainer, and I put a lot of effort into my own fitness, but not to be fit. When I was a young kid, I just wanted to be the fittest and the strongest person in the world. But now I still put a lot of emphasis into my fitness, but not to be fitter. It's because I know, well, sort of to be fitter, but sorry, not to look better, I should say. When I was younger, I just wanted to train to look better. Now it's like, hey, I still want to train, but I want to train because I know the fitter I am, the healthier I'm going to be, the more energy I'm going to have, the better I'm going to sleep, the less stressed I'm going to be, the less anxious I'm going to be, the less depressed I'm going to be. And like all of those things are going to help with my business. And the way I justify it, let me think how I explain this. Yeah, an easy way for me to explain it is, let's say I've got 8 hours in the day where I can work. I know that whatever, there's for whatever reason, there's 8 hours that I'm going to work. I know that if I work for 7 hours and do 1 hour of exercise, I'll get more done in that 7 hours than if I worked for 8 hours straight. Even though it's
Yeah.
less time there, I know that I'll get more done if I have that workout in. So that's a bit of a fitness plug for everyone watching there. So unpaid. All right. What about book, Tinny? What's the and you can do this a few different ways. It can be the book that's had the most impact in your life, or it can be a book that you recommend every course creator should read, or you can give us one of both. One of
And
each.
you just knew that I'm going to go with something that had an impact on my life.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm all about. I really like to enjoy life, and the more I'm aware of it and the present I'm able to do that and to maximize that. So one book that changed my life is A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, and it
Okay.
came at the right time. And it's the kind of book that doesn't teach you to be present through words. It teaches you by reading the words, by being in the present moment, because you're not able to understand what's in the book unless you're present. And that's what I love about that book.
Okay, I might have to check that out. I've read what's his other book? The Power of Now? Oh, what am I?
Mm-hmm.
Is that him as well?
Yes,
Yeah, I've read that one. I haven't read, what was this one called? New Earth.
A New Earth. Yeah.
Okay, I will check that out. Awesome. Well, hey, Tinny, that's pretty much everything that I wanted to cover today. Is there anything that I should have asked you but forgot to? Or is there anything you want to finish us off with?
I had fun being here. You're great. And I love your work. I think that I resonate with your style. Um, yeah, that's it. We just, yeah, we
Oh,
covered everything.
you're too kind. And I'll just also remind everyone listening, I recommend to firstly join Tinny's group, which is the Digital Course Creation Fellowship, and also make sure to download her 100 course creation tips. I will put the link in the show notes. Tinny, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.